Graham Rahal, thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You've been in the headlines lately outside of action off of the track because of this post that you put on Twitter. You certainly have sparked a lot of reaction here in Indianapolis when you called the city a complete dump. Tell us what sparked that post, and do you stand by those words today?
Well, I've said many times, maybe the delivery could have been different, but the reality is that I do feel that we've seen a tremendous downward turn in safety, in the quality of the city. I moved here in the early 2000s. In fact, you were one of the first people I met when I moved to Indy in 2010, you and Terry. So, for me, at that time, I thought the city was really thriving. I thought things were headed in the right direction. I came from Columbus, Ohio. I thought that Indianapolis was quite a step up as far as the downtown part of the city. In Columbus, when I grew up, we really didn't go downtown much. It wasn't really a spot. Today, Columbus, Ohio is vibrant. It is alive. Everybody is downtown. Indy, I think, has done the opposite trend. And so my comments were stemmed from a reaction from an event that we had. I was not present downtown for the event, but we had a group of people come through called the Gold Rush Rally. It gets tens of millions of impressions worldwide every year. It was a really big thing for my company, Graham Rahal Performance, to have the rally come through central Indiana. There was a lot of people. If you went to our car show on Sunday morning, after the night that I'm about to speak of, thousands of people, tons of kids, a lot of enthusiasts. And all I heard about on Saturday night while they were downtown was how bad downtown is, how unsafe they all felt. Some of them left, did not stay downtown because of it. They had security on staff to watch and manage the cars. Yes, you had some very expensive cars, but you had a lot of just cars, a lot of purists in this. Security left. Security said they did not feel safe. There was juveniles running around waving guns in the air. They weren't even trying to conceal. So they said, hey, forget it. You can take your money back. We're out of here. We don't feel safe. And so my comments to Dokic's post were a response stemming from a series of events that came together, but culminated with this Gold Rush rally. And Anne Marie, it bothers me. I live in Indianapolis. I've been in central Indiana for 16 years now. And when the comments I get are, I never need to go back to that city, that was the worst city that they went to outside of Minneapolis ever, that's a concern for me. And I don't take that lightly because we've seen this trend. And then when I get comments like that, it does fire up the proud Midwestern boy in me. And it's something that I think you know this, a lot of people know this in the community. I'm going to say what I think. I don't necessarily need to be the most popular guy on the planet. But if I believe that something needs to be addressed, I will say it. And that's what stemmed the comment to Dan.
So when you made this post, were you trying to spark this conversation about crime and public safety, or were you really posting more out of frustration now looking back retrospectively?
Initially it's frustration, but I do recognize, particularly in central Indiana, that my voice is not going to stay hidden. I realized that immediately. It got way more. I think you have two people there that are going to get a response locally. You've got Dan Dokic, of course, and then you've got myself. Dan's a very outspoken guy. Typically in the IndyCar scene, so am I. It doesn't always have to do with things like this. But, I think that those two things added a lot of fuel to the fire. But I do think it is time for change. And I do think that my comments can help drive a greater good. I can tell you this. I have received text messages and calls now, even after Jay Query's interview, from probably 20 to 30 Indianapolis business people, both downtown and in the suburbs, that have asked me to come speak with them because they love my comments. They told me, don't stop. Please keep pushing this, because the crime won't just stay in the Monument Circle. It's not just going to stay downtown. We saw another shooting, I believe, yesterday in the near south part, the WTHR covered of Indianapolis. We saw crime on the near north side over the weekend right after my comments. The crime is going to continue to grow. It's going to affect Carmel, Zionsville, Brownsburg, Greenwood, all these other Fishers, all these other areas. And so I've been asked by a lot of business owners and people within the community to keep my voice. So now it has become more than one social media comment, and has stemmed into something that I hope we can all come together, and start to create some good within the city.
When you say Indianapolis is a complete dump, people interpreted that as criticizing Indianapolis as a whole. What exactly were you trying to say when you said that?
Yeah, I mean, the downtown area has definitely taken a turn considerably for the worse in the last few years. Indianapolis, as a global view, is blessed to have some of, if not the country's best suburbs. When you look even to the west, you've got, Plainfield, Brownsburg, Avon, a lot of great growth that has been happening in those areas. When you look to the south, obviously Greenwood, very prominent area that we've seen some crime start to kick up, but still a great area, that Indianapolis is blessed to have. And then on the north side of town, you're not going to get better in this country than Zionsville, Carmel, Fishers, Westfield, Noblesville. Those areas are as good as you will ever get in a suburb. And I travel around the country. I've seen a lot. What we have at our access in Indianapolis is some of the very best. Now, I don't think, Anne Marie, that globally people took my comments as Indianapolis as a whole, because I can tell you, people from those suburbs have reached out to me in great support of what they're seeing. I can also tell you that people within our community, the racing community, the amount of comments I got at Road America thanking me for my comments, people that live downtown that are looking to move out. I had one buddy that lives right near Mass Ave that said, hey, the other night there were 70 rounds fired off or something. It sounded like a fireworks show, and I've got a young family and I've got to go. This is, the common message that I get is, I used to love going downtown. I just don't go. I don't even try to go anymore. So I hope that people don't view my comments as Indianapolis, as a whole. We are blessed to have one of the best cities, best, surrounding areas in the country. And I think that's really what stems me to be proactive about this too. We cannot let some crime issue that we have downtown permeate to all the other areas, because we're too blessed with what we've got in Indianapolis. We're too blessed with the sports that we've got, with the businesses that we have. But it does need to be addressed. And as I said, if there's something that we all can do to come together, to create opportunity, to create employment for people from the inner city, to be able to create some pride and some change, I would certainly be happy to be a part of that. And we'd be fortunate to be a part of that.
Graham, when you made that post, I shared it on my social and said, comments from Graham Rahal today. And I would say, by and large, most of the response on my page were, he's not wrong, he's not wrong, he's not wrong. There were others that said, wow, here's a very privileged person who is very high level, an IndyCar driver in our community. And he should be thinking more carefully about what he says, because it is amplified. So if you had to sit there and say and grade the feedback that you're getting by a percentage basis, how many people would you say were in support of what you said, and maybe for you saying publicly what other people are saying privately, and other people that said, hey, you are a public figure, you could be a role in being more positive about our community? How would you break down the feedback that you've received?
What I would say is this: I've had, and I'm not exaggerating, I would say it's 95% positive in support. I would say there's a group of people who are very vocal, who attack me no matter what I ever say. It doesn't matter if it's about this or not. And of course, they're out there. But the reality is, I am pleased with the response. I am hopeful that, like most of the comments that you received, I mean, look, after my text, I followed WTHR specifically. There were 4 posts over the weekend of shootings since my message went out. There was another one that came out yesterday. it's becoming somewhat of a daily occurrence. And you cannot sit and say, oh, Graham Rahal's an idiot, which one lady called me, uh, and that he just needs to shut up and stay in Zionsville. You can't say that, because, as I said, eventually all of the crime will fluctuate. It's going to reach on the north side. It's going to go further west. I saw there was a very large concern of a mass gathering at the Plainfield Mall to create some issues this weekend. We cannot act like what some of the core issues that have been happening downtown won't permeate to other places. For me, I hope people understand, I don't intend ever for my comments to be detrimental to the city. I don't intend ever for my comments to be detrimental to the people that live within the city. I feel we need change. And whether it be people, whether it be sponsors, whether it be pretty much anybody in that regard, I can tell you that my comments were very supportive. One group that I'm very close with has a business downtown, a large business downtown, and they have a garage that is attached to their building. And they have to hire private security now to get their staff to their cars at the end of the day. That is not okay. That is not the way that Indianapolis should be. For me, Indianapolis should be a thriving part of our global, of our state, of our country. It should be a place that people want to go to. When sponsors and people now come to the Indy 500, Anne Marie, most often they're wanting to do dinners and stuff on the north side of town now. It used to be everything that we did was hubbed around downtown. That's not the case anymore. And these are people who don't get to come in here often, and yet they have the same perception. So I hope people know that, my words were developed by, I had my windows shot out of my building in Zionsville last year by juveniles from downtown. I was downtown last year having dinner with my two little girls at the time, and a bunch of kids came running around the corner. Soon after, valet comes running around the corner, and I said, what's going on? They said, well, these juveniles, they go on the rooftop of the garage and they're throwing fire extinguishers off the rooftop at cars that drive by below. I've had real world experience with this too. I don't just stay in Zionsville. And the other thing I want to mention, and you know this, I'm heavily invested in the state of Indiana. I'm heavily invested in central Indiana. I have put a lot of what I've ever worked for and for my family at stake on the north side of town. Our race team is there as well. So I am not going to sit back and sort of pretend that these aren't issues that affect all of us. I've been able to build a very successful business, so I'm not stupid, that is on the north side of town. We're one of the nation's largest specialty automotive retailers. We're the only Ducati dealer in all of Indiana. We're the only Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Piaggio, and Vespa dealer in Indiana. We have a lot at stake. And I do not want to sit here and make this a political issue because that's what everybody wants to make it. This is a humanity issue. We as citizens need to rise up. As you said, most of the comments to you were positive because a lot of us know, but only a few will take the action to actually make change. And that's what I feel like my duty is. We need to start this, and we globally, whether it's myself, other business owners downtown, other business owners west, north, south, come together and find a way to create employment, create opportunity, create pride for some of these kids so that we don't continue to be seeing the same amount of shootings and murders and stabbings and everything else that we are seeing now downtown.
If someone saw the headlines from this controversy, what would you want them to have be the takeaway of it now? That this conversation, let's go past the soundbite, past that headline, past the post, but into this conversation, what would be the takeaway you would prefer to have?
I hope that, and by the way, your video has gone viral as well. I'm getting sent it by friends all over the country. Most of them are saying, hey, the most that live in big cities are saying, dude, keep going, keep speaking, because we have the same problem here. That crime in these big cities is getting out of control, and we're not doing enough. We're not I mean, the police force needs the support. They need the abilities to do what they need to do to help and correct some of these wrongs. But then also, as I said, the police force and even the politicians can't be expected to do it all on their own. Citizens need to rally together. And to me, that's where I'm at. I was just looking at a story that Scott Swan did the other night or the other day, maybe yesterday, about the south side of town and citizens getting tired of all the shootings and bullets flying through their homes and things like that. We as a society need to come together to try to correct the wrongs. We cannot rely on just the politicians that are in place anymore. And that's left and right. This isn't a political comment. This is factual. We as citizens need to provide opportunity. We need to rally as a community. We need to find a way to work with kids who don't have a great sense of home, a great sense of family, that don't have a great sense of pride. We need to give them an opportunity to find that. And for me, I've seen that even in Zionsville. I've seen that in other areas. It's not like this is just sent now. The crime is mainly centered downtown, but in other areas. And I hope, if anything, that this spurs the conversation. I would love at my club at Wheelhouse that we built on Northside Time to host a bunch of business owners from around central Indiana at the end of this year when the racing season's over and get together and go, okay, what can we do? What can we do? Forget, politics, forget grants, forget all this other stuff. We can make an investment in our communities as well to be able to help, correct a lot of this, because it's just like daily life, right? You get people that's a little bit down, you get people a little bit depressed. Once they start to get a little pride in their life, it's a whole new human that comes to life. And we need to be able to help with this, I believe. And so I don't really want to back down from it. I feel like, this can be the start of a lot of great conversations, that can happen over the next, 6, 8, 12 months. And, to me, that's what needs to happen to be able to see some quick progress and stop some of the issues that we've been seeing.
If you could rewrite that post today, what would it say? Would it be the same, or would you make a tweak?
I would say the message point may be the same. Maybe I wouldn't use the word dump, but the message point would be fairly similar, that we have an issue. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on or where you live. We have an issue. And the crime, I mean, I cannot tell you, literally, I'm not exaggerating, when I got a text from this group that said, hey, we just drove 4,000 or 5,000 miles, whatever it was. The one city we do not need to go back to is Indianapolis. That is not what we want. That is not who we want to be. That's not the pride that the Hoosiers have. We have to fix the issues that are at hand. And I know that some people want me to just shut up. And I know some people, want to blame me for being just an IndyCar driver and I need to go do. But the reality is, I'm not just an IndyCar driver. I've got a young family. I'm a businessman. I employ a lot of people. We're a massive revenue source for the state of Indiana now. I've got a lot at stake. And I've got other business owners that feel the exact same. And so while maybe I don't use the word dump, the reality is the city of Indianapolis, the downtown part of Indianapolis, is not a place that people want to go to anymore. And so we need to correct that. And hopefully we can all come together and from a global view, we can help fix this together.
Well, obviously, when you speak, people are listening, and it sounds like you're committed to continue this conversation, so we're going to follow up with you in the days and weeks to come. Graham Rahal, anything else before we wrap up? I do appreciate your time. No,
absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, and as I said, I hope that together, the news channels, everybody can come together to try to stem and spur a greater good. I mean, Emery, you know this. You guys don't want to keep covering shootings every night. You guys don't want to keep having to put those posts out. It's not something that we want to see. Just like the ER docs don't want to have to keep fixing holes in people and having to have families bury family members. We don't want to do this. So let's all come together. Let's find a way to create a greater path forward for the state of Indiana, but the city of Indianapolis.